There we go. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. Seems like stream is all the way back up. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what that was. I'm actually as confused as you are right now. What? All right. I guess we're back. Now, as I was saying, I will consume their flesh and blood. Get ready! Alpha Flesh Eater, let's go. 1, 2, 4, baby. 1, 2, 4. Number 2, charge! Eat them. Consume their flesh. Now get them from back there. You see that flesh eater there? Get him. Bro, all of us have survived. You eat. Oh, never mind. They're actually back up to full health. Yeah, I couldn't make friends with them. I'm not gonna lie. I could not make friends with them. They would just not take simple things like, oh, would you like to be friends? They would be like, consume flesh, eat. I had to. I could have left them alone, but then they would have tried to consume my flesh, and I can't allow that. My flesh is delicioso. We can't have them eating it. Dinosaur bones. Wait a second. This could be dope. Yo? Oh, baby blue. Hello. Alpha bird monster. You know, that doesn't inspire hope in me. But let's try to make friends. 70? Bro, these guys gotta be hard. These guys gotta be hard. Okay. Aha! No, alright, they don't like us. Dip! Scram! Run away! Flee! Oh, the tristles. You know what? We're making friends today, that's what it is. And then we're gonna go to war after we're done making friends. Pause right here. Hi guys, don't mind me. I'm just getting some stuff. How you guys doing? I came to chat. Alright. Singing? Alright, singing, I got this. Anything else? No. Dip. Second try. Second try. I need to upgrade my singing. I don't know how to, though. I gotta be honest, I don't know how to. There we go. Okay, they didn't like that. They did not like that. Dip. Okay, so we're not strong enough to get the tristles on our side just yet. Alright, you know what? I'll just take this stick and go then. I'll just take this stick and go. I'll do it. I'll run away. Oh, there we go. What is this? What happened to my third guy, by the way? Is he okay? He's still on the map, but like... Oh, did he fall down? He did! No wonder! Bro, he was drowning. He was literally drowning. Alright, I'm dipping then. I'm dipping. Oh. Bird monsters again! I'm sure they got some good pieces to evolve here, right? Anything? No. Those look like actual dinosaurs. Oh, and they hate us. Never mind. Why do you hate us? We haven't done anything to you. Wait. Let's stay within the bird monster's territory. Yo. It's just feet. All it is feet. All right. The Lahunku. Lahunku. Let's go. Will they like us? Oh! Oh, yo! Oh, I can't do that. Gotta be honest, I think they're too above my level. Yeah, they're like 50 health. I don't think I can take them, guys. Don't mind me, not doing anything. They're spazzing out, by the way. Oh, 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 we got a fight going on here. And I don't think it's easy. Why did you pick that fight? Bro, he knew he would lose that fight. And still he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try. Come at me, everybody. Everybody come at me. Ooh, the squins. Are those just sentient eyeballs? I feel like they are. Hold on. They are! Look at that! Oh, what? Oh yeah, I gave him that. Okay. Easier to make friends now? Yeah. Assemble! I don't know where you're talking out of. I don't know where you're talking out of. Okay, they really don't like us. And we're hungry again. The bottomless pit requires sustenance. Excuse me. The bottomless pit requires sustenance, you see. Alright. Where are we? Ooh. No, you know what? Let's not. Ooh. Tree frog. You know what? At least one of them are exactly what you think they are. Oh, what were you doing? I looked away for half a second and he was spazzing out. Like they're taunting me. Like, oh yeah, come over here. Oh yeah, why don't you come over here and see what's gonna happen here, eh? Alright. He's gone back. It's time to eat, boys. It's time to eat. We need to go eat something. Something needs feeding and it's my stomach. If I can just get like a few of them on the side. Fire. Yo, get him. Come on, get him. Then get this one. Get this one at the back. Hey, brother, get him! Hello? Are you fighting? I'm losing literally all my comrades and all I can do is just stand there. Be like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm a little hungry. Oh no, bro, I've lost everyone. Bro, all my friends are dead. But at least my belly's full. Am I right? At least my belly's full. Who needs friends when you got a full belly? A good old full belly of stuff. But my friends are dead. My friends are dead. Well, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that hard. Alright, see ya. Killed 2 of your people. I was hungry. Sorry, not sorry. It's time to dip back home. Except I want to see... Are these guys nice? They're not nice! They're not nice! Run! They are not nice! They are not nice! Oh no, I'm dead. I'm dead. Unless I can get away. Unless. Oh, there we go. Yes. Unless. Bro, I've got 200 DNA points. Let's beef him up. Oh, yo, what's up? Don't mind me. They're practicing their dances and everything. That's cool. If very low on health, eat something or return to the nest. Option B. I choose option B. We're returning to the nest. Do I need to, oh, I need to hold it now? No, I don't. I don't know why it wasn't registering before. The lizard people! The lizard people! Okay, we don't want to fight them. What's up, my dudes? How you doing? I'm just going back home. Nice to meet you on the road. Everything's completely fine. Nothing to worry about. No. I came with 2 people. Did I really? Did I really? Oh, okay. Okay. We're all good. Oh, what? That's an egg. Ma'am, I don't know what kind of mystical baby you got going on, but it's levitating. It is levitating. Okay, down that way. Okay, well, let's go. Gotta keep an eye out for Sore Hands Jiggly Man over there. And we should be fine as long as we don't mess with anyone else. You know what? I'm just gonna... Let's ignore them. I think I can actually bypass both of them because they're fighting. They're fighting kind of close to my house though, you know. I don't like the intention of fighting too close to my house. Like, this is my house and that's where they're fighting to the death? What? Oh. Hey. Mating call time. What? Why are there only 2 of you left? What happened to the rest of my colony? No way, it's actually walking straight now. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Arguably more hideous, but it's walking straight and it's looking good, if I do say so myself. But sadly, I think our population got wiped out because my wife and I are all that's left. I'm not too sure about that, but it seems bad. I think we're gonna have to speed run getting a new population, honestly. We've got a bunch by the way. Look at this. Dance level 2. I need all the dance I can get. I need Dance Dance Revolution yesterday. Oh, we got new arms. Cuddy arms. Yes, my thinking arms. We could put thinking arms on our head, you know, just in case we could. Let's see. Oh, the insane eyeballs, yes. The insane eyeballs. Hold on. That actually works. Yeah, that works. Look at that, boy. We also have these ones, which are alien eyes, but those don't even look like eyes. They look like decorative seashells on my arms. No. No way, right? No way? No way. Bro, I'm about to turn him into Wolverine, baby. Wolverine. Hold on, I need to look at this. We're gonna get one. This way? This way. Ooh. These look like Wolverine claws, if I say so myself. I'm actually just changing my fingers to just have razor sharp claws. They're 75 each, by the way. I don't... too much. It's so expensive. Level 4. Charm 4. Check it out. Charm level 4. We have charm level 3 on our back. I need, like, singing. Can I get better sing? Oh, no. No. Why can none of these mouths sing good? That's a level 2 sing. But I really like this mouth. Like, if you put them side by side, I feel like this mouth is superior at showing the slop. We could get level fine. He looks so much goofier now, though. He doesn't look as intimidating. Let's change this a little bit. Ooh. Ooh, the Extendus. Come here, I'll bite you from 5 meters away. And I can wait, up? Yes! Hold on. We're pulling this back in. This gives the same He's still bald though, which I don't like, but he does have a better feel to him. Now we are gonna move the nipples a little lower so they don't intervene. I mean, not the nipples, his head as if, true homie. We kind of got like a deranged homie here, like homie insano mode. Okay, we've got level 2 singing, we've got level 2 dance. Level 2. What does the suck feet give us? Charge, speed, sneak. You know what I'm gonna use the rest on? I think we have enough weapons for this time. We're gonna add on protective armor so he doesn't get boo-boos on him anymore. Just so he doesn't get some boo-boos. Wait, how much are the wings? No? How much are the wings? Those aren't wings. These are wings. These are wings. Those titties, goddamn, you never seen some so pointy before. Look too deep into it and it'll squirt you in the eye. Sometimes I question what I say on stream. We could give him like fairy wings, you know? Have these on the inside. Ooh, I know what I'm gonna do. These holds it in place so it looks natural. Look at that. Ah, yes. Genetically mutated homie. Eventually I'm gonna stop calling him Asmongold, but for now we're gonna add another plus to it and say the wings were from the wall. Don't ask about it. There we go. That's the law. Post-war. Once I upload this, it is going to be the most insane thing the community has ever seen. Oh, it's great. Ah, yes. I don't like that. Mama, you look different today. Did you do something with your hair? Mama, did you do something different with your hair? Please leave me alone. Okay, we're getting a pack. All right, let's get the pack involved. We can get 2 people in our pack. I sound like a dog, don't I? Like that kind of thing? All right, there we go. The nodding. Bro, the chin itself could be used as a whetstone to sharpen a sword. Look at that. If only I could extend it. He's doing interpretive dances. Look at that. All right. Now we can jump, we can sneak, and we can mating call. All right. We're looking pretty good. We still only have 31 health, but I think with this upgraded look and very normal skin-like texture, I think we'll be good. I found a streamer who is named after the Teletubbies, and the avatar is a Tinky Winky? What? They're named after the Teletubbies? I remember watching a little bit of the Teletubbies as a kid. That stuff gave me nightmares, not gonna... Oh, the headbutters. Oh, so you want to go now? You want to go? Okay, we go. You guys have 10 health. Don't pretend like you're someone. Don't pretend like you're something. Oh. And as they ascend into another plane, I gained brain. Teletubbies. What's their name? I'm actually kind of curious. Named after the Teletubbies. Oh. Hey guys, don't mind me back here. I'm just carrying on. Now you can add a third creature to my pack. You guys want to go by any chance? I can take you. I think I can take you all. Okay, both of you get a bite. Where's my third guy? He's frolicking in the fields. You don't want to eat? Okay, I guess I'll eat then. Grab a little of this, a little of that. Looking pretty good. All right, folks. Oh. No. Sorry, can't help you. Sorry, didn't see anything. Sorry, my eyesight's blind. Sorry, need glasses. No, run away. Come on, come on. Don't be a hero. Don't be a hero. Tinky Winky Tipsy. What? You know, I'm not gonna judge people for making their names whatever they want to be. You can make it whatever you want to be. Doesn't matter. But that is definitely a unique one. That is crazy. That is cool. Oh. You don't say anything. I blend in with the ground. Hi. All right, it's time to make friends. These guys rejected us last time, but now we're back. We're back with even better stuff. There we go. It's time to make friends. Ooh, they like it. Ooh, they like it even more. Do you like a bit of that? Oh. Jesus, I feel like I should be censoring this somehow, you know? They're our friends. We impressed them. Look at that. That's his happy face. All right, next. I need those DNA points, brother. I need those DNA points. And somehow I still have 100. When did I get 166 DNA points? I just started. Oh, is that from my brain expanding? That might be from the brain expansions. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Touch tips. Boom. Now we got a Reaper Mantis. Strike forward. Damn. You guys are epic. I love you guys. All right, last one. Last one for 8 DNA. I'm doing it for the scraps at this point. I'm doing it for the scraps. There we go. I think they really like me at this point, so it's easy. Bro, leveling up made this all easier. I think they like my wings, by the way. They like the cosplay style of it. Friends! You can heal them in, wait, what? Or add them to your pack? Really? Oh, damn, I didn't know that. I have some really powerful allies, not gonna lie. I could also, you know, run them to extinction by using them as slaves, but we'll think about that later. We'll think about that later. Those guys friends? The Stomposaurus. No, they're not. All right, I'm dipping. Oh! Yes! Friend! Oh, he's coming here. He's coming across town just to take this from me. Here we go. Friend. All right, and while he's dipping, it's time to make him friends. Let's go. What you want? All right, all right, all right, all right. Level 2. Level 2's making this work. Look at that. Is it because our brain expanded? They're suddenly just like, you know what? We will be your friends. You guys are so powerful. Please don't kill us. The shortened snout. I think we got a shortened snout right here, guys. Made it myself. Made it myself. That looks exactly the same as before. Pew, pew. Oh, here we go. All right. The next battle of friendship. You goddamn kangaroo guys. Let's make friends. Gather around, folks. There we go. We're making this. Ooh, yeah. You could just tell. You could just tell. Because my bar is bigger than their bar. My bar is erecting faster than theirs. That's how you know. That's how you know it's all gonna be alright. Oh, wait, no, hold on, pause. I messed up. Retry. You always get 3 tries, okay? You always get 3 tries when you're making friends. If you say something weird on the first try, just try again. No, it seems fine. Okay. I thought I heard somebody coming around from the back, trying to eat me. Okay. There we go, folks. There we go. Barely squeezed it out. Barely squeezed it out. They giving us such good stuff as well. Bro, making friends is worth it. You should do this more often. Okay, let's go for the alpha. Alpha friend. Is he gonna be tougher than the rest because he's the big boy alpha? Oh, he is. No, is he? I don't see any difference, not gonna lie. Oh, wait. I accidentally clicked out. No. Let me keep going, please. Let me keep going. I don't like that these guys are doing singing. That's not my strong point, okay? Was that a creak I just heard? Was that a creak I just heard from all their bones? Just like, yes, we haven't danced in millennia. Alright. Show him that look. Oh, yes. You know, I probably look to outsiders like one of the weirdest fairies they've ever seen. I'm probably one that'll never be featured in a movie just because of how hideous I am. These guys... Can you guys tell this is actually hit streamer Asmongold? Or so they say. Alright, last guy. Last guy. Ow! Okay. You know what? You know, that guy likes singing too much. Let's just... Oh, no. Skip to somebody else. You don't like singing, do you? They do, but they like my singing even better. Bro, that was easier than anything. That was easier than anything. We got so many friends now. I bet if we put these guys on the front line, everything would be okay. Could you imagine? Frontlining these guys against those guys? Create our own civil war just for the fun of it? We could. We could make our own civil war. The Warlozeski. Hello, goodbye. I do not want to involve myself with you. I'll hard pass on that. Everyone just has a lot of health. You know, I am saying that, but I have 46 health. I could probably take, like, guys that are much weaker than me right now. Anyone want to face me? I got you. I got you. Let's go find some foes to kill. Let's go find some foes to kill. We're gonna kill them now. Do. What's this? What's this? Empty eyes. Oh, those are really empty. I think I just looked at the void and the void stared back. Alright. That's new. I haven't seen one of those before. Haven't seen one of those before. Ignore me, ignore me, ignore me, ignore me, ignore me, ignore me, ignore me. Friends. Will you wage war for food? Let's go. Bro, that guy just got in on the bag. Saw that? I can't see. I can't see. Are we winning? I don't think we're winning this. I don't think we're winning this. Oh, here we go. No, wait, hold on. Back off, back off, back off, back off. I didn't see that their nest was right there. Their nest is bad, guys. He's way too close. What are those? These guys sentient beings? Come on, eat them! Eat them! Eat them! Eat them! Oh my god, we're making it, we're making it! No! My poor boys! Oh my god, no. My poor boys! Bro! Okay, we're fine though, we're fine. They've gone to find a new nest in an even more dangerous part of the world. They bark like dogs, I'm not gonna lie. They bark like dogs. Oh, oh, oh. Alright, we seem to be handling this pretty well. These pieces migrating to a new nest. Follow them to mate and claim a new home base. Use the mini-map to help you navigate. Alright, everyone's up. Alright, it's time. Oh, he's already part of my crew. Okay, what about you? You want to be part of the gang? We're probably gonna die. Alright, we're good. I don't think we can take those guys on. They have the high ground and I am scared of them. Oh, damn. Alpha. Oh no, the rest of us gang. Alright. Alright, that's fine. We'll squeeze in the middle because they are neutral about us. They're neutral. I'm terrified. Alright. We're skipping up around. Skipping up and over, folks. Up and over. Can we make, wait, hold on. Can we make friends with these guys? You think? I feel like when I turn my back at night, they're gonna suck me dry like a vampire. They look like the nature equivalent of a vampire. Oh? FEMA Friday. Ayo. Ayo. Anyone want some femurs? I got a few spare. Shit. The Gax. The Garlax. The garlics, they're gonna come for me. This guy's just spazzing out. Look at him. Look at him go, guys. Look at him go. Doing his daily exercises of just spazzing out. Can you guys do that again? Oh, never mind. They saw me and they were like, it's them! Defensive positions! We're going around. We're going around. Please don't hurt me. I've learned my lesson. Maybe. Not really, but I'll pretend I've learned my lesson for now so you don't kill me. Ooh. That is a... Oh, it blended in! It blended in! Oh my god. Epic Mr. Legs. He's definitely something epic. No wonder there was such a big... Okay, he's eating those guys, all right. In the meantime, we're just gonna... Dip now, dip, dip, dip. Oh, come on. You did this to yourself. Oh, wait. Okay, all right, you wanna go? It's me, it's me. I literally gotta back off. Come on, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. The alpha's dead. The alpha's dead. Go after this guy. Come on, none of you die. None of you die on me, god damn it. Come on. Bunch of dead. Yes, there we go. And they're all dead now. Everyone eat up. Feast. Oh, and that Mr. Big Legs is gone now. Oh, nice. Listen, I didn't want to fight him. I didn't want to fight him, but they just came at me. I'm a pacifist, you know. I'm a nice guy, normally. But then they come at me and my rage expands and I gotta do it now. That was crazy, though. Ooh. I don't know why. Those guys just look kind of goofy. All right, everybody stick together. Don't walk ahead of the pack or you might get eaten by Mr. Big Legs. He was blended in so well I didn't even see him. Ooh. Stay away from those guys. I can't believe my new base is so close to danger. Okay, we can cut through these guys. The Alpha Ape monsters, they're not monsters. They're just misunderstood. Look at them. They may be hideous, but they're not harmful. No, let's walk past. Let's walk past. I don't want to be... gonna ignore you for now. You guys good? Oh, are they stuck in the... oh, they're stuck. I guess we have to do this now. Alright. Friendly time. Oh, what is up with your neck? No, 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 no. Dip, dip. Oh no, 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 oh no! Oh no, never mind, we can take this guy, we can take this guy. We could take him, we could take him, we could take him. I think my guy's dead, not gonna lie. This journey was harsh on all of us, you know? Alright, Asmund, you're still fine. Yeah, we're still good. Oh, no, he's tired. Stop for a light meal. Stop for a light meal. And now run. And now run! No, what are you doing? What are you doing, you stupid idiot? Get back here! What was that? That looked like an... oh, I can still see it. Well, you know, I was gonna make friends with those guys, but I've chosen otherwise now. I've chosen otherwise. Why did the eggs look so funky? It just shows what's gonna happen inside here. The funkiest of eggs. Dun 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 dun! We've expanded. Look at that. We've claimed future generations will be born here. But we've expanded like crazy. You guys want to go? You guys want to go? Get him. Get him. Get him. He's away from the pack. All right, there we go, folks. Oh my God, there's the Gigantosaurus Rex. You know what? Before we go, oh, everyone's running away. That's probably not a good sign, but nothing stops love, okay? Nothing, and I mean nothing, stops love except stupidity. I hope that guy isn't going to fight anyone. God damn it, Jerry, get back here! All right, here we go. Ah, yes. Very nice. Dance level 3, baby! Dance level 3, we got the 3 paws on us. We are starting to look a little more like a furry now, not gonna lie. We do have... ooh, you know what? I might actually go for the grabby ones. Because you know why? We already have health and pose. We don't need more epic poses. I'm sorry. We don't need more epic poses. The Tauntlet. Okay. And the Porcupine. Oh, so when they touch us, they feel pain. I see, I see. These could be like... these could be like knuckle busters. Like, pew, knuckle dusters. You know those? That looks insane. They're gonna get so much. Oh wait, it's spit. Guys, I know I got a haircut. It's a little different to what I normally get. But trust me when I say, I think it looks pretty good. I wish I could push it down, man. But yeah, that's our new haircut. Look at my gorgeous man's haircut. It looks so beautiful. Does he not look so beautiful? Tell him it looks beautiful. Okay. Hauntlets. What are these? 3 for strike. Ooh, jumping glide. Jump and glide. Health level 4. We're looking at the things here. The mob call. That looks like a dragon. Bro, I could make dragons in this game. I'm making the weirdest looking thing imaginable. Bro, he is zooted out of his mind. Oh, wait, sorry. He is absolutely zooted out of his mind. Hold up. He is absolutely zooted out of his mind. Look at that. All right, how much we got left? I feel like he's kind of perfect right now, you know? He is kind of perfect. Dance level 3. Underhanded. I'm gonna like tickle the gooch or something with these feet. What's happening? Yo. Slasher Knight. Yo, we got the upgraded leg joints. Look at that. All right. Now, you know, I don't quite know what to say about our gorgeous thing. The only thing I can say, this is no longer Asmongold. Fairy Godmother. This is the Fairy Godmother. You know, from all the movies. You know, from like Cinderella. She's a little different from what I realize. You know, she's been going through some things. But she's just the same grandmother you've always known. With a few, different changes, you know. Slight though, you'll never notice them. You'll never notice them. We could do this. Kind of looks like a butthole. Can I get anything more expensive? No. This does spit and health. You know, we'll just go for the spray buckets. There we go. A little more of this. Rotate this way. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, what? Jesus. Let's ignore whatever we saw there. You guys saw nothing. Nothing was going on there. Nothing. It's all good. Look at him. He's beautiful. I am your fairy godmother. It's been a while since we got Strike. Yes, yes, yes. Very good, very good. Thank you, grandmother. Everything in this game makes me laugh constantly. That right there is that right there is beautiful. Oh no. Leave us alone, man! Oh, where'd they go? Oh, they ran away, okay. What? What? What the fuck? Oh no! Oh, they took him. Never mind, that's fine. They don't want my guys. They took one look at my guys and they're like, no. No, I think that might be a detriment to our experiments. No, I think that would be a bit of a struggle right there. You know what? Sure. Let's do the mating call. Arr, arr, arr. It's still wandering around. I don't know if I should be scared or not. Oh, you, yes, you. What? Who? What the fuck? Bro, this guy just came into my way. You wanna be friend? He's the alpha. Bro, I'm the alpha. What you talking about? Okay, he's pooping out another baby. Let's go. Friend. Friend! Another under our arsenal. I'm going for a pack of 4 now. As all things should be, one good pack of 4. We not getting that? Come on. Nope. Stay away, thought! I will not. I'll not be persuaded. Okay, we're good, we're good. I think everyone is solid at the moment. We have a little more until our brain fully expands and we go to the next phase. So let's start dipping. We might have enough here. We might be able to do this. Come on. The main bird monster, she is terrifying. Easy. Bro, 3-on-1, we got this. Look at that. Come on, come on, just try me a little more. There we go, she touched middle ground. She touched middle ground. Hey, I'm at my job, came out to stop by and look. What happened to Asmongold? Drugs. It was all the drugs, guys. Look at that. These people are so dilated, they look like they're breathing. Like it's heart. There's insane things going on here. Thank you for the look, by the way. Thank you for the look. He also somehow got a chin that could sharpen a stone. And wings. So now he is Asmongold, Fairy Godmother Edition. And by the way, he got a new hairstyle in case you didn't notice. He got a beautiful new hairstyle which shoots projectiles. It's double use. People say that he need to get some hair, so he got a little spiky look. Alright. It's time to impress the rest of you guys. Come on. Alright. Dun, 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 dun. Ta-da! Huzzah, ta-da! Oh my god. Bro, this guy is harder to impress than the last guy. What? I did it! Bro, what? I don't understand what you want. Am I messing things up? There we go! Finally speaks my language. If you can't win, join. If you can't join them, beat them and win against them. Where's the rest of the bird monsters, by the way? I don't understand. What happened to the rest of them? Did they all die? Did something come through here like the Bigfoot Pete and just obliterate them? Hi. Hi guys, how you doing? You wouldn't mind if I nabbed this guy and like raised him as my own, right? You wouldn't mind? You guys want a gift? Have a stick. Nice. Alright, let's go looking for food now. We need hungry, and I am hungry. Oh, wait, I see something over there. I see friends, but also food. Bro, these guys... Oh, never mind. They have sit... If I could just get a nibble while no one's looking. No, but then they'd see. They're watching me. They're literally like, oh, who's these new visitors we have? We should try and make friends. And I'm like, can I eat your kind without you realizing I ate your kind? Oh, would that be too bad? Oh. Here we go. Follow me, follow me. Yes. Get him. Just don't come in this direction. Oh. Get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. Now eat and run. We came here to eat and now we're dipping. Don't chase after anyone else. We're going. We're going. Whoever takes that food takes it. I'm dipping. Bro, what happened to my crew? What? One of my crew is clearly on the verge of death, but I don't understand why. Oh, he's munching up his good share. Come on, we gotta go. We gotta go before they realize what I just did. And then I'm actually kind of weak. We got dip. This is the way we do it. We're not the scavengers. We kill a few and then we leave them be. If I can get the alpha, though, they'd leave me alone forever. If I could get the alpha, just for a second alone, like, sir, I'd like to come under your rule, and they'd just be like, clap! We got him, you know? I need to get... Ooh, there's the alpha. There's the alpha. He's a big boy, ain't he? He's always followed by a little Twinkie. Could I snipe him from above? Just like spit on him from the mountain, like, hey, nerd! Spit on you from the mountain! I spit on you from above! Well, I think he's dead. Oh, no, he's not. Hold up, I think they see us. Maybe? I think they might see us. Lock on. Oh! Stop! Oh, did I hit them? No, I missed. It's over here. Ooh, there's one over there. I'm gonna pick apart their faction slowly and methodically. This is how this is gonna work. We lure one out. We kill it, we gain our stuff back, and we run away. This is a cheap tactic, but these guys have been irritating me for hours. No, come back here. Come back here. Shh. Oh, what is that? Oh, it's a rogue. It's angry at us? For what reason? Bro, I wouldn't have fought that thing. He needs water. Okay. Whoa, 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 chill, chill. He's actually coming out. He's actually coming out. Can we make friends with these guys? I don't want to be mean. I just want to make friends with you. I'm not trying to kill you. Don't worry. Don't worry. Oh, you poop out an egg? Oh, that's so cute. You guys kind of look like prey animals, not gonna lie. Hey, don't push me around. Bro, they're just pushing me. No. Together. That guy pushed me aside. That ruined my momentum, okay? There we go. Bro, I need a bigger gang. This is not working because they can't see all my movement. They can't see all my movement. All right, hold on. This is failing badly. The only thing I have left is wall. Did that not work? How did that not work? Come this way. Never mind. Don't come this way. Bro, get in there! Bro, I'm just letting my mans die here! Come on, face me. Face me. He's at 1 health. Face me! Look at me! Look at me! Okay, there we go. Nothing went wrong here. I don't see anything wrong, sir. I don't see nothing wrong here. Just a casual Tuesday. You know how it be. Oh shit! No! No, 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 no! You can't kill me! No, 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 no! I am the man's. I am here. Oh. Shit. My bro's dead. My bro's literally gone. How dare you? I was saving him for later. I don't even know what that means. He's just dead. You know what? Maybe it's fine. Maybe he doesn't care that much. You guys all chill, right? You're chill with violence? Oh, okay, they're chill with violence. Alright, they're chill with violence. Alright, I'm just gonna carry on eating your corpses then. They nodded, so they're no, okay, they're not good. They're not actually good. They're only good when they want to do violence. Got it. Let's just sit over here. Ponder our decisions. What do you see? What do you see, Asmund? What is it? What do you see in the void? Alright, fine, I'm going. Hey, we made friends with these guys. Did we? Oh! Well, they look like they're gonna have a good time with that good friend right there. You saw that good friend? You saw that good friend. I think they're just gonna... Oh, he left. Oh, well, why does that never happen when I'm playing? It's like, oh, there's these guys that are coming over here. By the way, they're here to kill you and they slaughter your entire faction. I think I made friends with these guys. Can I now? I need friends. Without friends, this is failure. My bar is so low. No, man, come on. I got this. Can I like get you one-on-one? I need them one-on-one. Oh, there we go. Bye-bye. We're gonna get this one. Hey, yo! Bro, just out casually in the wilderness. All right. Not gonna complain. No, all of you watch. None of you are allowed to participate. This is my singing contest. Never mind, skip. You know what, folks? Maybe we could save this for later when you guys aren't gonna die. That guy has a butt tail. Did you guys see that? The guy has a butt tail. All right, we're going home. And I'm gonna go collect me some new friends. You know, my old ones kind of died. And I'm a carnivore, so I can't really eat that. God damn it. All right. Hi, how are you? You know, I'm kind of scared. Okay. I'm kind of scared. That looks like they're gonna kill me. You guys are not gonna kill me, right? Alright, see you later then. Bye. I'm dipping. You know, friendship lasts only so long. When hunger comes, game is game. The game is the game. Lockpicker. Ooh, I could use that. Bro, I've always wanted to learn how to lockpick. That would be so sick. It's like one of those things you see in movies that's like, yeah, the cool guy, he knows how to lockpick, he knows how to hack. He knows all this cool stuff. He knows how to get into places where no one else can. Oh. Why? No. Damn, it looks like I left something on the floor here. Damn, this looks crazy. I'm just gonna. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Homies! Get him! Get him! You guys got this. You guys got this. Watch this. I got this. I got you, homies. I got you. No one's gonna be able to get us on the back like this. Slap him. Fist him. Bite him. Eat his mouth. All right, thank you. Thank you. Oh, in a minute. In a minute. In a minute. I'm hungry first. Hit go on a light stomach, you know. Gotta go in. Otherwise. There we go. And now it's time. I think we have actually a lot of DNA points. What can you possibly add to this being? Oh, hi. Oh, will that be a problem? Probably not. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Nothing's gonna go wrong there. You ain't gonna use his 8 legs to 8 kill me. All right. This is our creator. We're actually doing pretty decent. We only need 3 Sig, but health and increased health. Okay. Why don't we just add a gajillion health here? The problem is simple. We are dying a lot. And we need to stop that. It's simple. Just add on more health, right? It doesn't seem to stack. Am I not seeing something? Can I take these off? Ooh, there we go. Level 4 health. There we go, level 4 health, baby. Level 4 health. I think we can take off anything else that might be giving us any health then. Do you even have anything? I don't think we do. 48 health. Not much better, but we are better. 5, level 5 spit? Is that from my 2 things in my head? My head and my body? I'm not gonna say it, I'm not gonna say it. We can jump level 3. Bro, why can't I make it harder? Add that into the game, developers. Add it so that I can add something onto this boy to make him mate crazier. Sprint, health, horror lump. What do you mean horror lump? Oh no, wait, my wings! No, my wings! My wings! Hold on. I need these. They complete the look. What? Okay, that's not how you're supposed to look. Okay, the wings are kinda working. All right, we're good. We're gonna change it from Fairy Godmother to Asmongold again. I kinda wanna stick with Asmongold for the entirety of this entire playthrough. I feel like that'd be very funny. We're adding him back in. Asmongold with 5 pluses. We've changed him 5 times. Eventually it's gonna have like a gajillion pluses and break everyone's computer. Inspirational streamer icon. There we go. We add that on. This is Asmongold. If you don't think it is, get your eyes checked. You might need glasses. There we go. They might need glasses, you know, it's a little difficult to tell. Oh wait, I wanted to fix the, yes, of course. I'm almost done. I just wanted to see if I could. Now you see, that's funny, but this is even funnier. Oh shit, go back. There we go. Hands, let's put them even more forward. A little lower like that. Yeah, that looks good, yep. I think he agrees. Now with the spine, I kind of want it to be more in, you know, like leaning in to just look at the stream, you know, like this. What we do need is like, there we go, look at that. That's more of a hunchback streamer than I've ever seen. What is that? Did I put something there? Did I? What is that? What is this? I didn't put that there. I literally didn't put that there. They do have more glides. I wish I could just, you know, extendo jump. Go gadget extendo jump and kind of work like that. How's our sprint going, by the way? Is our sprint sprinty? We don't have sprint. We gotta add some flair here and there. There we go. This is starting to look like I'm developing like rocket thrusters. This is his rocket thruster pack on his back. There we go. We changed it very slightly. We made him even better, even crazier. Let's see what these beautiful specimens look like. Oh, look at the cute little kid. He looks like he's 50 already. It looks like he's gone through. Oh, you're still here. Epic Trigo Mortis. That checks out. All right. Time to join the pack. What? Why are you not enjoying that as much as you should be? Oh shit. It's time to dip, folks. It's time to dip. I could only get you. I'm sorry. Guys, you didn't hear what I was talking about earlier. I was trying to say, join my gang, we'll survive. Oh, they're dead. Oh my god, I'm so dead. No! No! Oh my god, we're gonna die. No. No! I'm the last one of my kind! No. We had the area boss come to fight us, man. Oh, never mind. We're still good. It was all a dream. Everybody was fine. They weren't being consumed by horrible monsters. They were all okay. All right, look at that. We do have less people here right now, but it's not a bad. Okay. Bitch, you wanna go? You wanna go? You wanna go? I was just bored, but I'm gonna kill you. I was just, guys. Hello? Hello? They're like, ah, yes, the fights. I like this very much. This is a nice spectacle, if I do say so myself. The fuck? You guys want to come for more? One at a time and I'll take ya. No more than that. Oh, they're gonna have a fight. Yes, yes. Fight amongst each other. Extinctionize each other. Oh, there it is. Hey, yo, what? Another mating? You know, we need to buff up the crew. This is a perfect way to do it. This is a perfect way to do it. We need more. This was a great gift right here. More, and even more. Man, do a little poopy. 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 Very nice. Nice. And we got 40 points from us to spend on anything we want. I don't know if there is anything I want. I don't know if there is even anything I want. Because, like, He's pretty perfect the way he is. Oh, yeah. Hold up. Why only have 2 eyes when you could have 4 eyes? Ayo. So look at more streams, guys. We're developing the greatest streamer you've ever seen. He's got 4 eyes. Enough to see all his monitors with. This is great. Next, we're gonna give him more arms. And then more legs. He's gonna become a giga streamer. You know what I should try to do? What if we do a back-to-back version? Okay, well, that is that. Can we make him go away with a roll? Yes, we can! Bro, the roar did it. The roar did it, Bose. The roar did it! Anyone want to help me with this fight by any chance? Bro, he's literally going away. We are the smallest, most insignificant people. Oh, he's coming back. Oh, wait, he's coming back. Round 2? There's a cooldown. There's a cooldown. Oh, wait, never mind. Yes, yes, go for them. Go for them. Go for them, yes. No, no. Okay, all right, we're fine. Jesus. I don't know how much I would need just to be able to get, like, this guy another mate. No, I'm good. There we go. 1 crit. Oh, yeah. I think I offered something a little more than just a dance right there. Damn. Did you see what happened to their eyes? Hold on, I'll zoom in a little bit. Look what happens to the eyes. Oh, ho, ho. Little something under the table there, I think. All right, it's coming back here. Let's bolt. Let's bolt. I don't care. Let's bolt. Yep, let's bolt. Alrighty, there we go. On a journey once again. Get it. Get it. Get it. It's only one of them. You should have come in a pack, bitch. Should have come in a pack. Oh, there's the rest of the pack. 250. 250. I'm out of here. Oh my god, we're surrounded. We're surrounded. Back to home base. Back to home base. Oh, he's not actually gonna kill us. Oh, that's fine then. I don't mind that. Bro, she's crazy. She is actually insane. Damn. Okay, you know what? I'm before I am tempted once again, I am dipping. I am straight up dipping before I'm tempted again. We don't need to make more. All right, here we go. Ape monster time. Yes. I'm gonna force recruit them once they become friends. It's time for forced recruitment. Front of the lines. Dun dun dun. Do they like us now? Do you want to be friend now? Oh, he does. Okay. Next, we gotta convince everyone else. Time to convince them all. Oh, look at those moves. I can't do as much as you. I think if I flip, my brain will explode. But we're making it work. We're making it work. Nice! Look at that. All right. Now the ape guy. I think we might have more of a challenge here. Oh, this is going to be a challenge and a half. Let's go. Oh, hey! Oh, he just yanked us out of the way. He was like, no, no, no. No, no, no. We will not. I'd pass. The alpha ape. Bro, both these are alphas? Damn, alright. Both of them are alphas. I didn't catch that. Bro, she's still asking for it. I'm all the way over here and I can see the heart still. Ooh, I know what I can do. Let me find a stick. Stick! Stick! Where's stick? What is this? What is this? Crashed plane? No. Crashed plane. That is law. What is that crashed plane even doing there? That doesn't make sense. How? Oh, crashed. I need to find a stick. If I can, oh, there's a stick. Oh. You guys won't mind if I steal a little stick from you, would you? They wouldn't mind. Oh no, that's not a stick. Hold up, pause. Regroup, boys. That was not a stick. I think we might have to relook for a stick. Okay, nope. Out of the way. I'm moving out of the way. I'm moving out of the way for you. I'm moving out of the way. We're almost at our lost brain, by the way. We're almost at the lost brain. Hey, come here. Pat. No, wait, over there. He's alone. He's alone. Get him. Oh, no. Oh, shit. I thought he was alone. Hi. Have I made any friends here? I haven't. Oh, that's sad. Can I do it to the baby ape monster? No. All of them are there. I need one of them to come for. Oh, there we go. There we go. He's going for a walk. He's going for a walk. Get him. I think he's far enough away. This is the strats. Yeah? Yeah, you like it? Oh, there we go. There we go. Damn, I need... Can you not interrupt my friendship meeting, please? There we go! Made it! Made it! Brain cells expanding! I am extraordinary brain! Oh, did my brain just explode? There's too much power in there. Too much power, it's overwhelming our very tiny brain. Congratulations, you're fully grown and get ready to evolve to the tribal stage. Okay. You can finalize your look for all time. This is your last chance to add arms that are helpful when carrying tools. Okay. Oh, no! Oh, fine. Oh, fuck it. You know, I kind of was a little bit hungry. So we'll take it. Let's actually go to the ape monster's house. We could chill out there for a little bit. Then we're dipping home and we're evolving. I am gonna add some arms to him. He's gonna be the best streamer ever to have streamed, alright? And you know what that means. 7 arms, 12 legs, 50 brains, 70 eyes. He's gonna have them all. What? What? Oh, no, I'm dipping. No, sorry, bros. Sorry, bros. I am dipping like Dippin' Dots. I'm out of here. Hey, yo, well, hold on a second. We have more health. I can take them. Wait a second. I didn't realize how much health I had. I thought I was still an infant. Oh, nah. We're taking them. Munchy, munchy. Munchy moo. Eat, eat. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah! Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes! How much health do I have? Bro, I have over that looks like I have 100 health. Do I have 100 health? Do I, perchance, have one hundo bundo of health? I love that. I love that. Wifey, I'm home. There we go. All right. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's go. She loved my moves. You saw those moves? She loved my moves. Now, we're gonna have to think really hard because we're finalizing our position forever. We've got to look dashing. We've got to look good. Wide eyes. Ooh. All right. Oh, that's scary. That looks like, you know what those look like? They actually look like Morpheus's glasses. Not of an eye, just Morpheus's glasses from the Matrix. All right. This is what we've got to work with. Let's adjust the spine first. I'm thinking more like this, right? Hear me out, hear me out. What is the best way to stream but have two of yourself so that you can stream simultaneously, correct? So I am going to make two of him so that no matter when the one side can go to sleep, one side can stay awake. Tell me I'm a genius without telling me I'm a genius. I've got 1,000 to play with. Let's go. Should both of them also be different personalities, you think? That is either one big dumpy or another you. Is that another big dumpy, or are you just happy to see me? What? This is the reaction face. What? That's insane. What? Hey, how you guys doing? Oh my god. Didn't brush his teeth for a while. Can you guys tell? Is it noticeable? Okay, now we add on the arms. I don't know, do we have any more arms? I need something different. Oh, armor plated. No, those don't look good enough. What do you? Damn! Why are they so big? No. Well, maybe. No. The other side is going to be the side that looks chonky. Flesh. Flesh hands on your head. No. None of these hands really speak to me. You know what? I'm switching them out for the basic hands. I don't care. Basic hands. Meekly, sure, meekly arms. Those look pretty decent. Those look pretty good. What about the cutty arms? Hi guys, look at me. Come here. It's like grabbing their arms like that. All right, hold on. Turn that down. T-pose. T-pose for submission. How dare you try to get me? I T-pose so that I win. That is hilarious. Can I get a shorter T-pose though? Can I get a short T-pose? Yeah, there we go. T-pose for dominance. All right. Now we gotta look at the feet. All right. Now I'm not a foot person, but I'm thinking the bone sticklers. You can tell he's never gone to the gym. Look at those toes. What the fuck? No, that looks hideous. We need something worse. What about hands for feet? They're inside of him. I didn't quite, can we reset that? I didn't quite predict that. Oh, he has no legs. He's so sad. What happens if I give him no legs? That just looks like he's squatting. He's like, T-pose for dominance. All right, there we go. That kind of works. Now we're gonna make the other side as well. I just want to bring it a little more in so that we have room. You know what I mean? We have some room to work with. There we go. That should be quite decent. Now let's start with the eyes. I think voids. Kind of like voidy eyes, you know. We can give him the ooh. That scares me. I introduce Asmongold. Let's change it. I want him to be horrific monster on one side and goofy mess on another. That's what we're doing. So these knees here, not monstrous enough. These arms, not monstrous enough. Second page. Ooh, the FEMA Friday. What are we looking at? What is even that? It looks like a chicken. God damn, he has so many knees. That actually does look like a chicken, not gonna lie. Buck, 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 buck. Chicken, chicken, chicken. What about the arms? Armor plated? Armor plated? Like armor plated? Am I hearing armor plated? I think I am. What does this one look like? Oh, that one looks even better. Also, just note to self, these arms are way too big for his body. Look at this. Let's just shorten these arms just a little bit. Bring him up here. Get him a little shorter. That actually matches. That kind of matches it. There we go. All right. Now we got to start with nightmare fuel right here. Nightmare fuel is gonna be simple. We find the freakiest stuff, we stick them all on. I need the freakiest mouth. No. I need a goofy. I need something goofy. But that matches, goddammit, that matches! Duh! No. This kind of matches. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. This kind of matches it. Hellscape. Goofer. Goofer goober. Alright. This guy will get normal legs. You know, he is gonna be facing a little backward, but that doesn't matter. Can I not rotate these legs backward? Oh, I can't. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. We maybe could. No, the best we can do is kind of break his knees a little bit. That's the best we can do. Now for the arms, I'm thinking Cuddy arms. Jesus, There we go, look at that! That is definitely the right way around. Can I not get his feet to do the same thing? Okay, now we have 400 to style him up and make him powerful. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, there we go. Look at him. He's got hair on his head. Let's go. He's got a nut. Don't look the other way. Don't look. He's balding at the back. Hold on. Isn't Asmongold like balding at the front heavily? I've got an idea. If only I could shove this a little deeper in. Hairline is so insane. Yo, what's up? Play Levels Radio version is the fire song. Okay, I need to send it on Discord. Too lazy. We can check it out. Give me a shaking. It's opening. We're making the most beautiful creature I think I've ever seen. Look at him. He is beautiful, and he is Asmongold. You might know of him. You might have heard of him somewhere. Problem solvent. We can add a few problem solvents. Few problem solvents here. Nah, he's looking too goofy now. We can't have that. Chin squirter. Chin squirter? Chin squirter. Yo, we have 100 health though, that's insane. Bro, that's just chaos. You talk about this guy, you talk about this one. Nah, man, side by side, it's... No, I don't see it. Gotta be honest, I do not see it. Let's get some strike in there, by the way. Oh, beautiful! You're so pretty! Look at him! We need to shove it on this guy, though, unfortunately. We're getting, like, Wolverine levels over here. Look at this. KSI and Logan Paul. The brothers. The brothers right here. KSI and Logan Paul. Yes, look at them. Beautiful. Alright. What the fuck? Why can't I get on YouTube? Except Logan Paul after singing out the lady. He wants to be your next component. I can take her. What? She's never fought in the arena before? I'll get her to fight. Boo, boo, boo. Alright, hold on. What was that thing you wanted me to... the song? Levels. Version. Oh, it's an Avicii song. Oh, hey, yo, this is gonna be good then. How long ago is it from?
I am seeing less blemishes.
Shut up, ads. Ads. God damn it. All right, here we go. If this song is not a banger, you're banned. Okay. Oh, is this song, of course. I know this song. Well, I grew up when this song came out. This is a great song to just... This is a great song to just, vibe to while I make my monstrosity. We have 200 left. Rip Avicii, though, what happened? Wait, what happened? What do you mean, Rip Avicii? What? Oh, God. Yeah, there we go. Bro, the demon wings complete the look on one side. We have 79 on this side. You know what I'm gonna give him? He gets coils. He gets nice little coils. Okay. What? Why did I never? Really? Bro, I never heard of this. What? No, that's impossible. Bro, I've been listening to this man's songs for years. Oh man, that's so sad. Bro, I listen to his songs so much and I feel like it's just like, like, what? You know what? Let's listen to a bit more of this song. There's not much left. I did not know he died. No. Okay, while we listen to this, we're doing the coloring now. We are doing the coloring for our Chimera monstrosity. We're calling it Asmongold, by the way. We're sticking with him for the journey. Ooh, that could be a good one. Ah! I don't like that. I don't like how whatever that was. Come on, show yourself. I feel like I gotta go with one of the normal ones. This looks bad. Otis' first song from Forza Horizon. Bro, you played Forza? That's great, man. Alright, there we go. Song over, man. Rip Avicii, man. I didn't know he passed. I literally didn't know. Bro, I have him on my playlist on my phone, man. Like the one I listen to every day. And I didn't know. You make him like bright yellow, like he beat himself. Ah, yes. That actually works for this side, not gonna lie. This works for this side. You know what? We're gonna go for it. At this point, it's so far stretched from Asmongold, I'm not even sure we can call this thing anything. But this is the last time we can change our character. So, what stays, stays. What stays, stays. Here we go. I birth the freak, which is the combined twins, Asmond and Goldie. Oh, are they gonna be powerful? Who knows? But now it's time to transcend to tribe. The Iron Creature. Look at that. I'm a predator. No, 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 no. No. Bro, this one was so funny. This one here was hilarious. Look at this though. The journey has been long. We died so many times. We fought some basic things. We became whatever this was. We then had Asmongold version 1. Kept going, he kept getting weirder. Then at some point I decided to change him to Homer Simpson. Then after a while, he was the fairy godmother. Then he went back to Asmongold, and now he is beautiful. All right. Time to go, boys. Time to go. What? Yeah, this is what I want. I made him. I made exactly what I want. I will never change him for the world. All right. Oh. Stick. What is he doing? What's gonna do with it? Oh. 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 Bro, even the monster's watching over us. He's figured out, he's learned violence. You know, I thought something cooler was gonna happen. Stick. What is he even doing? Bro, he bonked himself out. That is so good. Brothers, listen to what I have realized. Oh. Bro, we learned fire! Ah! Fire! Oh. Well, where did that come from? We got a staff, I don't care. Congratulations, you're about to enter the tribal stage. Ah! Alright, we got it. Tribal stage. Ethnographic sampling. What? Epistemological framework. I feel like these developers made up words here. Those can't be real, right? Those can't be real. Yo! Yo, wait! Asmongold is in there! Andre V35! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the tribe. As you can see, we're doing just fine now. We just got to the tribe stage. Let's go. These goals will guide you through your tribe life. Visit the planner. We got planners now? What is this? Oh my god, this is really where it kicks off. Click the hat icon to open the oh no. Tribal outfit? Oh, we can do a tribal outfit. Ah, yes. He looks gorgeous. Wait, hold on. We have to cover two faces, okay? Look at my boy. I can't have one face be pitted over the other. By the way, I'm an OG player, played since release. Well, have you seen anything as beautiful as this? We've got Demon, and we've got Derp. Derp and Demon. What is this? Oh, I can't change my name anymore. Can I change the description at least? Yeah, okay. We're good. Nice creature. He's gorgeous. He's beautiful. Let's see. What do we want to do with this now? Stunrise. Gleeclips. Gleeclips sounds kind of fun. This guy didn't really have anything on his head, so we're good. Extend it. No. We'll keep it as it is. There we go. Point it directly towards the sun. Just directly there. Smush your brain in a little bit more. This is for the sun god, okay? What do we got? Armor pieces for the shoulders. I don't know if these guys can be considered to have shoulders, but we'll put them on whatever kinda looks like it. Okay, this guy is completely fine now. Let's see. What do we give you? Ooh, Floronet. You can put some of these here. This kind of actually looks like hair. You know what? Screw this. We're giving my boy hair. He's been bald all his life. We're giving him a mohawk. Why does that actually complete him? Look at that. That actually completes him. Nice. Oh, these have like actual consequences. Oh. Oh. Wait, I wasn't looking at that. Hold up. Mustache. It has to be, right? It has to be. Oh ho ho! He is a Frenchman! Oh ho ho! Oh, ho, ho. What is this? Oh, yes. A little more back though. Hold up. There we go. There we go. That looks pretty decent. Oh, ho, ho. What is this? The stickler. All right, none of this really matters. Let's go back to these. The armor plates. Let's slap some armor on my boy. The shoulder crowns. He doesn't. His shoulders are so tiny. Nothing fits on him. Literally nothing fits. Alright, we're not gonna give him one of those. We could give him a little bit to protect his privates, though. His privates and his privates. Ooh, a fanny pack. Gathering. But wait, we're a violent tribe. Let's do both. Why don't we do both? Slap a little of this and a little bit of that on him. Yeah, it's looking pretty decent. We have a little more points. We have 24 still to go. I don't know what they expect us to do. But you know what? I'm upgrading my man. He's getting a full head of hair today. It looks a little crazy, but he's got a full head of hair. All right. Completus. The fetus. All right. Bro, he can dance with 2 people now. We can be double as good. Food and foraging, instruments. Digger is too dangerous to impress neighbors. Stone axe is too expensive. They're brutally effective against wild creatures and tribe members, but are less useful against huts and tool shacks. We don't have enough food, folks. We don't have enough food. You can move the camera freely around the world. Helps you check on tribe. Ooh. Okay. Oh. Yo. What are those? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, over here. Over here. Click on the mini-map. Mini-map. Click on... Wait, what? Click on a tribe member's portrait in the tribal list. Oh, yeah. I forgot how to do that. Oh, tribal list. Click and drag a boxer on multiple... Oh, okay. Yo, it's basics. Let's begin finding some food. Let's go, folks. Foodie food, food, food. Oh, no. Oh. I'm thinking yes. We only have 2, so I don't know if I should. Oh, there's so many of these. Wait. 63 each. 50 there. How much health do you guys have? 40, 44. I don't think I can take them. Where else are they? We gotta search for food, man. Traps and firebombs. Oh, no. With tribe member selected, right-click a wild creature to hunt and gather meat. But there's so many of them. Fine. Fine. We're probably gonna die here. At least I can reverse this if I do it now. I can probably reverse this. Ruh-roh! There we go. Hold up. They don't notice. They don't care. They do not even care. We're winning against it. We're winning. We're winning. Gather. Yo, we got it. Hey guys, they're looking up at me like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? You just killed my favorite guy. His name was Jerry. He was our comedian. What the fuck? You can't do that. Nice. We hunted for prey though. We got him. +3. We got 25. I say we just do it again. Like, what's the problem, man? What's the problem? Kefir! Oh, damn, they're fighting! Wait. Bro, they're just fighting. They're just casually fighting, you know how it'd be. Impress neighbors with these, food and healing instruments. Stone axes. All right. Wait, that takes up 25 food? Oh, okay. We're gonna starve. Hold up. Can I come grab a little extra, you know, a little off the top maybe? Aha! Hit him! Bro, they only have 23. What a nerd! I think we just massacre them. We take them out back and we show them who's really boss. And then we start building things. Yee! Violence war! Oh. They already have stone tools? Oh, wait a second. Tribe of Asmongold Plus is formed on your planet. Tribe team leads your tribe. Tribe can go into combat without its chief, but it's necessary. Wait a second. Hey, that's our thing. You can't be Asmongold Plus. That's not allowed. That's cheating. We gotta get him. All right, guys, come pick up the rest of them. 32. I think I can get enough food. You know what we're gonna do? Stone axes, baby. Stone axes, baby. We're gonna put it on that side. There we go. Completion. Now we only have 7 food. But we have a little more on the way. Look at him. He's watching their backs, okay? Nothing will sneak up on us. Nothing will sneak up on us any day of the week. What was that? I'm sorry, what? Guys, eat. It's okay. You can munch. It's okay. Archie, I think it's about time. It's about time we get those resources up, you know what I mean? It's about time. You guys want to join in? No, he's just watching. Okay. Learn, kid. Learn. War is hard. War is pain. Learn! Alright. Gotta take a little bit of the spares, you know what I mean? Now listen. This is nice and all having a small tribe, but can we not get any babies in here? You know what I mean? We need to expand. So unless there's any woman here, I think we're gonna die. If there's none, we're probably gonna die. Did he just say Gunda Gandhi? Is that what you said? Is that their war cry? Gunda Gandhi, Gunda Gandhi. There we go. Kid, watch this. I'm about to wipe every whole tribe. Like it's nothing. Maybe we'll leave him be. You know what? Maybe we'll leave him be. I don't know. Maybe we'll leave him be. I'm feeling a little good about myself today. Maybe we'll leave him be. He's shocked. Oh my god. Oh wait, never mind. Well, wait. Unlimited food source. Let's go. Unlimited food source. We need to wait for them to like come back a little bit, you know, get like a few people. Call them again. Call them all over again. Round 2, baby. Round 2. All right. Should we start taking on these guys? They look a little tough. The Sharkosaurus. When sharks come on land, you should be afraid. Click on your huts and add a baby. We could just do that. Add one baby. Oh, 10 food. Oh. Bro, no need to even, none of the important things. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna impress the shark tribe. But first, It's time to finish off a little business I got going. You know what? I don't want to actually wait anymore. Tribe, gather. Okay, I literally can't do that. All right. These guys I can kill pretty easily. Let's impress these guys. Hello? Hello? They're kind of mad at us. Maybe we choose somebody else. There we go. Raiders have been spotted. They plan to steal your foot. Raiders! Hold on, pause. Raiders! Raiders! My God! You come in to raid my food from my... Wait a second. Are those not Asmongold's? Is that not an Asmongold? Oh my God! We got him. We got him. GG, folks. Haha, GG! Attack the Brown Village. Where they at? Where they at? Okay, so their thing didn't work. We need to clean off this thing over here. Need some extra reserves, if you know what I mean. Let's get them. We're gonna get a little more food. We need something to impress the tribes, you know. And for that, I need a lot of food. Like a lot of food. The small amount I have now is not gonna work. We need all of it. Don't let him run away. There we go. All right. What? You guys can have the rest. Don't worry about it. No, make your way back home. Make your way back home. They don't like us too much. Remember this day, okay? Remember the day when you came by and ate my food. Remember that day. Okay. Attack the Brown Village. Where's the Brown Village? That's not the Brown Village. That's the Molesi Village. Let's make some friends. Let's make some friends. Raider spotted again! Both you stop. Where's the raider? Where's the raider? What? Raider? I hardly know her. Oh, raiders. Raiders! Join in, folks. Join in. Join in, it's time! We need to... Oh, no. Get them. Get them. They're trying to pillage our village. We have to show them what happens when they try to cross us. Whoa! Destroy them. What you say, Jeff Farrell? Jeff Farrell? Stupid Farrell. Get him. The last guy. He's still messing with this place. Get him. Get him. Did they take all our Did they take all our food? Did they take all our food? How dare you? Woohoo! Let's go, folks. Let's go. We finally did it. Now we do need some extra food. So y'all are gonna need to cull some things around you, okay? Not gonna lie. These guys did steal some of our food. It's about time we teach them a lesson about whose is whose. Because they are mine until decided elsewise. Get them. You guys want to come in on the battle? I'll wipe your whole clan out, you hear me? This is a warning. Try to come closer. Try. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Yeah. What you think about that, huh? What you think about the biggest guy sat in the back doing nothing? You guys have 3 eyes, 6 legs, and it doesn't do shit. Back for more, folks. Back for more. You wanna keep going? Wanna keep going? I took 2 out of you guys like it was a piece of cake. Oh damn. Oh damn, one of these guys just walked in? Oh why thank you. He walked in and he was like, I die for you. Alright boys. Free meal right here. Pick it all up, that's at least 3 plates. Oh yeah, I don't know where they get the plates from, but I'm not complaining. Sir, you're not gonna place it back down. There we go. All right. Now, we do have 46. I say welcome another baby. And another! And another! Why not? And another. There we go. We'll wait till he's a little more grown up. But for now, it's time to get more food. After we've wiped out these guys, I'm gonna make friends with some other guys. I'm gonna make friends after this. I'm gonna make friends. Yo, wait, no. 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 This guy looks like he's about to attack us. You know what he actually does look like? He looks like a xenomorph. Not gonna lie, that is a xenomorph with a different color palette. Change the color palette, give it 2 arms, and that is a xenomorph. What the? They made a xenomorph! Oh, but it has goofy eyes. Never mind, it's not that tough. It's not that tough. Hey, yo, hey, yo. Make friends time. Time make friends. Make friend now. Friend. Hey, yo, we got 4 guys here. The tribe is growing, man. The tribe is growing. Hello there. Would you like to be good friends with me, good sir? Listen, old chap, I think that we could be the bestest of bros. What do you say? He loves it! Bros, he loves it! Social, a wild creature. You are now under my care. You've domesticated a member of the species. Bro, what? I threw a dog a bone in the most direct way possible, and they were like, yes. Yes. I want to see what we can do now, by the way. We have this. Impress neighbors. Stone Axe are brutally effective. Can we get... Oh, we got Stone Axe. Our bro's got Stone Axe. Our bro's got Stone Axes. For now, all I'm doing is getting a bunch of food. Not gonna lie. That's all we're doing. So, I'm gonna pop out another baby. I'm gonna pop out another baby from my mystery womb. It's time now. Who's ready to fight? Who's ready to rumble? Folks, it's time. There's never been a better one to kill the Mowgli. Look at them. They're basically asking to be. Oh, is that? Oh, that's a. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, that's so cute. I'm not done. I'm not done. Who said I was ever done? Who said I was done? Don't let them escape. Stragglers. Stragglers. All right. Pick up the rest and let's go. Let's go. We got them. Destroy the Broadway village by destroying their main hut. I don't think these guys even had a main hut, not gonna lie. These guys were struggling from the start. Is that guy? Is he pissing from his leg? I thought out of the corner of my eye I saw like water, like the water animation out of his foot. Oh, these guys hate us. Oh, boo-hoo! What you gonna do? Go cry about to mommy? What you going to do? What you going to do? Don't care. Oh, you know what? Actually, I said it in the wrong spot. Get more food. All right, let's upgrade. What is this? The Dingareedoos. Impress neighbors with these Dingareedoos. Dingareedoos. Alright. Ally or conquer other tribes to gain access to their tools. Should we go after the, Should we go after the Saurus tribe? Should we go after him? Num 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 num. What does that sound like a FNAF character? Like num 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 num. Num 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 num. Num num num. Oh yo. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. You coming to my territory? And you expect nothing to happen? Come back here. What you doing with your 30 health on this fine day? How you and your 30 health doing? Why are you out here? Get back to the town. You never leave. Notice how these guys still respawn. Like, we destroyed everything. Literally everything they had here. And they respawn still. I think we're gonna do just fine when it comes to food. Just darn fine. Because it looks like we cleaned all of it up. We got 40 food. That's insane. Home one. Oh, wait. Home one? Brown Village? Bro, this is mad at us. Hold up. Charge. All of us to Brown Village. Take the resources. Take everything they own. Ignore the It doesn't matter. We're charging. We're charging. We are leaving this a little unarmed, but we have our boy. No, 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 don't harm him, don't harm him, don't harm him! Don't harm him, stop, 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 stop. Oh my god, I almost ruined that relationship. Will he forgive me? Please forgive me. I didn't mean to. There we go. There we go. Take him out. Get your ass out of here. Ooga chaka, ooh, ooh. And we got all the technology. It's time, folks. No, 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 no. No, break it. Break it down. Don't leave a nice little gift basket. What are you doing? We just massacred the whole tribe. Gift baskets aren't needed. Bro, they almost left a gift basket here. What does that have in it? It has berries and a bomb underneath. That sounds about right. Oh, hey, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? I didn't know there was anyone left alive. Oh, my bad. Sorry, sorry. My bad. Let me finish this correctly. I thought there was only the head tribe master. Alright. Now fireball! Fireball! I cast fireball! I cast species extinction! Alright. How's my little tribe doing, by the way? We only have one dude and one singing dude here. Okay. Not happy. Not gonna lie, he is not happy with us, and I just misclicked. Back to work! He is not very happy with us, but he's still with us, which is what counts. That counts. Here we go. The gift box is still there, by the way. Oh, got new stuff! Is that armor? Could we now outfit our crazy people with armor? Oh, the three-eyed god, we must praise him. Your totem grows and the new tools and outfits have been looted from a fallen tribe and added to your tribe planner. Ooh, what do we got? What do we have on our side today? Oh, wow. Well, is that a self-extending hut? I love it. Your tribe grows in prestige. You have a large hut to fall and you can sustain up to 9 tribe members. We can literally get 3 more. A new tribe has been founded? Where? Ooh. Maybe not. You know what? Maybe we don't find him just yet. Maybe we don't find him just yet. No, don't tame him. Kill. 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 Oh, you guys are coming back from the tribe, right? Here we go. They're coming back from the tribe. They're like, we just finished our conquest. Now it's time to kill another guy. Charge! They're mad at us, okay? Don't blame me because I killed your entire species. It wasn't personal. It wasn't, I'll be honest. It wasn't personal. Not in the slightest. Oh. Fire starter. Oyster, you want to start a fire? That's what I thought. Okay, we're all good. Back home, we only have 19 food. What's wrong with this? Oh, he's hungry. Munchy, munchy time. Just make sure they don't starve to death, you know? It'd be a problem if they didn't starve. If they did, I mean, if they did. I'm not a crazy person, okay? Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, there we go. Eat your share. How's that looking? How much do they eat per, by the way? One. Oh. Bro, that's easy. That's easy. What else we got now? Wooden horns and food and healing. Equip tribe members to fish spears to maximize their fishing bounty. We could do fishing. We're doing all the nice stuff over here. All the knife stuff is over here. All right, I have an idea. We send off a few of them to go fishing. We send like 2 of them to do fishing. Or you know what? 3. 3 of them to go fishing. Oh, come on! Raiders spotted! Sorry, guys. We gotta select all of them now. Tribe elders, well, who's trying to raid me for my resources? Got him. Start the violent rampage. Pick them off one by one, folks, one by one. Oh, what was that? His neck just extended in the weirdest fashion. He should be dead right now, but he's not. He's not, and he's maintaining it. Look at that. Get scrumptiously eaten alive. Trap. Trap him. Trap him. Trap him. What is up with their necks, by the way? They should be dead from how this looks. Ah, another no! Bro, another tribe wants to kill us now? Okay, fighting off 2 raids in one day, I guess that's fine. That's okay. Oh my god, they're lighting it on fire. Kill this tribe immediately. No, no, no. Start on this. Bro, it's down! Kill them all. Come on, come on. Bro, they're all coming here. Why me? What have I done to you? Yeah, that's the sounds of pain I like to hear. Get him! Also, kill this guy first. He's doing some damage. He's doing some damage. Get this guy now. Guess what? Now get this guy now. Bro, they're getting wiped out. Don't even talk to me, man. Okay, we're at half health. That's fine. Your tribe's gonna be wiped out. It's time. It's time. How do you feel about your tribe getting wiped out? How do you feel about it? Bro, a double raid is insane. Who came up with this idea? They were just like, I hate those guys. I hate them. We gotta get them. There we go. Wipe them out. Wipe them out. Woo! We did it, folks. We did it. We're out of food now, though. I'm sorry to do this to you as soon as you start. We gotta go on a conquest. We gotta go on a conquest immediately. We need as much food as possible. Food. Grab all of it. All these tribes surrounding us, we're wiping them out. See, I didn't want to fight these guys. But then, you know, I got raided twice, and I need to fight those guys now. I need to. I don't have a choice. Damn, that does look like a lot of food, though, not gonna lie. That does look like a decent amount. I can't get over the Two-Face, man. The Two-Face was the best thing I ever came up with. Okay, a little low from what I expected, but I guess they're also eating their own shit in the middle of that. Alright. Oh, I see. Oh, do I see a stupid coming to fight me? Do I see one? Is that a Moalessi? What if it is a Moalessi, man? What if it is a Moalessi? Alright, now we're gonna give that in. They burnt down my boy! No! Okay. It's personal now. It's personal now. They burnt down my... Alright, we're putting them all on this side. Wooden horns, alright. Alright, everybody, put your share on there. Then take a bite and don't take too much, alright? Don't take too much. Oh, you know what? Have one or two of them go for this guy. I think 3 of them would be enough to take out, like, this guy. I think 3 of them would be enough. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. We're definitely enough to take out these guys. Because then the other boys coming from the back. Oh, you thought this was all of my crew? You thought the entire crew was coming for you? Nah. Nah, we had some people wait in the back for you to get tired. There we go. Baby. Baby shark do 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 baby shark do 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 baby. Baby. Look at that. Bountiful! How can you lose in this game mode? Let's be honest. Unless you go for like a place that has much more advanced civilization than you. Like, I'm going for these guys next. I'm coming for you. I'm gonna pop out a few babies first though, not gonna lie. There we go. I think that's still enough for everyone to eat. Still enough for everyone to eat. We have like 30 plus. Yeah, we have 30 plus. These guys sure have a lot of meat on them, you know? They sure have stacks of meat on them. They are carnivores though. It checks out. It checks out. Now, should we make more friends? Because I feel like we should try and make more friends. You know what I mean? Once we transported all the food here, we should try and make some very nice friends. You know what I mean? We don't want to die because, like, there's a problem. Let's make. Oh wait, this plate. Can we get somebody to fix this, please? everybody! We need fix and stat! Stat! Oh, look at that. If everyone pitches in, it's beautiful. Oh, maybe there's only a certain amount of people that can work on it. Okay, that's fine. Did we get all the meat from here? Well, guys, we didn't get the meat from here. Jarvis! Meat! Oh, damn, they're back. They're back. Is this just like an infinite respawn point? I thought if I killed them all, I killed them all. Maybe I need to break that thing. There we go. Get the baby, get the baby, get the baby. Can I not? Can I not get anything else? Alright, we're expanding the tribe then. We're expanding them. We're getting these horns because people will be impressed by us, I guess. Allies would be a good thing to have. You know, allies would be pretty nice. Oh, raid spotted, folks! Get back to base right now! Get back to base, we got another raid on our hands! Why does everybody hate us, man? There we go. Get him. Get him. Get him! Obliterate him. Oh, shit! Bro, get them. They're breaking down our houses. Tribe go wild. Tribe go crazy. F1, 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 F1. Calling back up. We're killing them one by one. Oh my god. And oh my god, my fishing shack. Those blue bastards love my fishing shack for some reason. It's like the only thing they care about. Can you get that guy in the middle, please? Oh, nah. Not again. Not again! Kill the spear guys. You know what? Kill the spear guys. They seem to be the toughest at the moment. These guys are throwing fire around like it's a goddamn toy. And I can't pause this. That's the... Oh, I can. Hold up, I can't pause this. Never mind. Damn! Bro, my boys are getting hurt out there! Get the spear, guys. Bro, we're down to 5 people! No. Everyone kill whoever you want! Kill whoever you want! I'm letting you guys roam free for once! Go wild, go crazy. But most importantly, kill. There we go. They're trying to burn it. No, they're trying to burn it down. They're burning me down. Oh my god, a 3rd raid? Oh, come on. You're just making fun of me at this point. You're just making fun of me at this point. We're already dead, please. We're already dead. Bro, they killed us. Oh my god. Humanity has not destroyed, start afresh. just as every, what? Oh, okay. Okay, we're fine. We're okay then. Maybe. Oh, we do start afresh. Really? Okay. We do start afresh. Nice. Get him. Kill him. New part of the group. New part of the group. Now, I'm thinking, right, we kill them before they try to kill us. We kill the Esmond. Wait, no. That's us. Never mind. I was about to say we kill Esmond Villa before they kill us, but no, that's us. That's us. We gotta get in and kill them. Before they kill us, yes, but at the same time. Now, I'm thinking, right, we add as many babies as we can, but you might be saying, oh, but we don't have that much food. There we go. Now we add in another baby. No enough. Okay, 5 food. All right, that's fine. We're gonna go here. You know what we're gonna do to him. You know what we're gonna do. It has to be done. It has to be done. Folks, I'm not joking. It has to be done. Rejoice, Mickery was born. Mickery. Mickey Mouse. I think it's Mickey Mouse really that got born. Umaga, loopa deepa mama. Alright. We're bringing this back. Once those two are born, any tribe that comes near us, yeah, you know, any tribe, I don't care who you are. The Asmondians, they've split off. They become another tribe. We gotta kill them. We gotta kill them. There can only be one. There can only be one, I say. There can only be one, I say, and I say it true and I say it proud. There can only be one. Roll. We're getting enough food to make axes, and then we're beating them up. Hoot, hoot, hoot. Do you guys want food? There we go. They're getting food automatically. All right, good. Okay. Now we're getting another baby. There we go. Another baby. Baby more. Baby more. Once they're all grown up, we're getting the axes. And then it's gonna be massacre time. We need to evolve fast in this place, man. I did not expect that to happen. I'm also gonna save you, cause just in case it crashes. Again. I think Full On Assault is the name of the game at this point. Full On Assault! Hey, salt! I need salt. You have salt? You got a cup of salt I could borrow? Please, do you have a cup of salt I could borrow? I really need to borrow that salt. Get him. Get him in the back. You won't be able to evolve. I will not allow it. Okay, everybody grab some food. Grab some good old food from around here. You do you. I'm actually selecting you all. All right, they're bringing it back. 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 All right. Now these guys are already not happy with us. I don't know why. We need to eat as much as the next person. Be happy it wasn't you. I need to make friends with the gorillas though. The Cyclops gorillas. Oh, there's more Molessi over there. Tribe, time to chow. Everybody, ding, ding, dinner bell. Ring, 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 dinner bell. Time to chow. Bring all your offerings to the table for the idol. Here we go. Ooh, there we go. I like this. I kind of like this view, but I kind of like this view as well. Everybody, it's time to get axes. Axes. We're gonna use these axes in the conquest. The conquest, brothers. Do you also want to get one? You can't. All right. Where is it? Brown Village. You dirty fucking scumbag. I disposed of you many times ago. Wooden horns. Fishing spa. Ah ha 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 ha. Ah ha ha. They didn't realize. Also, I gotta kill this guy first. The Lizance. Time. I'm sending everyone there. If this doesn't work, nothing will. Nothing will. Oh. This guy's just going. You should probably get back. No, they're not gonna say hi to you. Is this guy the raider? Wallaka! Brrr. Did they steal some of our food? No, they couldn't have. They couldn't have. Bro, they're literally trying to raid us as well. Why are we running away? Hello there, why are we running away? Why are we running away from these folks? Why are we running away from these fools? When we have axes, we have firebombs, and we have traps. Finish them off, folks, finish them off. Lose a few in the meantime, you know, that's what I'm called, you know. Fill in the gaps, bros, fill in the gaps, it's fine. Snap his neck. Snap his neck. Did they just... Are they killing us? No, right? No. Fuck. Fuck. Bro, we literally have no one left. Only the tribal leader. Only the tribal leader! He's gonna probably get in there and die as well. Oh, there's 4 of them left. There's 4 of them left. Yeah, we have no chance of winning here. These guys were a more devolved but funner one to play. Oh, they're drawing him in. They're drawing him in. Oh, nah, he's gone. Folks, he's gone. Alright, tell you what, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Tell me what happens in this fight. If we win, I'm gonna be first prize. Okay, I'm back. What did I miss? What did I miss here? Population has fallen between the minimum and survive. Repeat the tragic story. Bounce back in time to find out. All right, let's find out. Bro, this is so much harder than before. This is actually tough now. Oh, wait, what? They letting me have my boys? Damn, he can sing! Did you guys hear that? Well. Like, did you hear that? That was insane. All right, I have an idea. Hunger. Food time, baby. We're getting all the food. Oglis has entered adulthood. Very nice. Well done, Oglis. Oglis, my brother. You know I've always known you as a brother, Oglis. Yeah, you stood no chance, brother. Brother, you stood no chance. All right. All right, everyone. Get food. Get food. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh. We're the tribal state. Oh, he's flying. You know, I forgot I gave him wings. I can't believe we can actually fly with those. Those were like the worst wings ever. All right. So now we gotta build this up. I'm thinking we wait for them to come here. They're eventually going to. I know that. They're eventually gonna be here. Yo, 7 food. Well done. Well done. 6 food. You know, still good enough. Not gonna complain. A little less than before, but all right. 6 food. This is becoming a trend now. What do you have? 6 food, I'm guessing. Ah, yeah, 6 food. Of course. Seen that in a while. There's still more here, though. There's still more. Alright, let's clip the rest. It's really rude to waste food, okay? Really rude to waste food. Carry on, I'll just send 2 guys. Ah, you guys don't need to help out, it's fine. Now we're gonna make friends. Because as we know, if we don't make friends, we die. That's just how it be. Hey yo, call the tribe. Kill him. Don't be nice to him. Obliterate him. Obliterate him from his hearts. You dare touch my 72 food? Stand down. Get out of here. My 72 food in your hands? Yeah, right. This guy was hoping. He was hoping he could get a little sniff of my food. Get him. Why is he healing? Stop healing. This is like a boss healing mid-battle. It's not allowed. Back off. Got him. I'm taking whatever that is. I'm taking it all. What is that? It's mine now. It's mine. All right. Bro, that stopped us getting food, man. Disappointing, man. I was in the middle of collecting food. Why they gotta do that to me? Okay, we gotta keep an eye on these guys over here. They did send, some guy after me. We're gonna thin them down. Eventually, they're gonna just send, like, you know... Oh, wait. 9, brother. There's so many. They're gonna want all our food, I know it. I'm spending it all so you guys can have it. Spending it all. You know what I'm also gonna do? That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have these two guys go and greet them. Say hi to them. These are gonna be our friends. There we go. Baja hoja hooja, baja hooja hooja. Another tribe is attacked? Which one? Which? Is it the pink tribe? Don't tell me it's the pink tribe. Where? Where? Oh, it's the blue tribe! Oh, nah. Kill him. Oh, come on! 3 raids at once! Oh, come on! What? No, this is unfair. No, man. Again. 3 raids! Again, what are the chance of it happening once is insanely small. The chances of it happening a second time? We're not making it out of this. We're not making it out of this. Nah. We're not making it. I thought this was gonna be like a chill thing, you know? Oh. We defeated the blue tribe, now there's the orange tribe and the purple tribe. Yeah, I think a fresh start is exactly what I need. I think I need a fresh start. Yeah. This is not a fresh start though, what? This is not a fresh start. Alright, we're gonna get some food, we're gonna get axes, we're gonna go kill him. That's how that's gonna be. What? The kid's trying to intervene? No, they're not. Alright, we're good. Get away from me! Oglis through adulthood, very nice. Let's make some friends. I have a sneaky feeling that friends might be the reason we survived this. Okay. We're gonna make something. We're gonna make something so that we don't die. Because oh, we left some food. Left some food. That's kind of rude, guys. Come on, don't leave food. Is that only for one person? I guess it's only for one guy. All right. We're going to these guys. Toss him a bone. Needed 50 food to fuel the wild. Ah, okay. We're feeding them apparently. I need food. Sorry to say, I need that food. I need that food, folks. I need that food. Folks, I'm not gonna lie. You're fighting a losing battle. You're fighting a losing battle here. Just calm down. Let me eat you and tame some animals. Nah, I don't want to kill the kids, man. I don't wanna be mean. I don't wanna be that guy. You know. Okay, they're running away. I thought, hey. No wonder we were losing food. There we go. All right. Now we got this guy chilling here. We need all the... Oh, God, raiders. Raiders! Get him. Get him! Anyone who enters gets eviscerated. You think you can come in here and try to kill me? Oh, he's trying to run away. He's trying to run away. And stay out! No, no, no. Boys, come back. Boys, come back. No, 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 no. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. No, no, no. These guys are gonna die. They're actually gonna die. Okay. It's time. It's time to tame. It's time to tame. Time to tame. Yeah. We're getting this guy here. We're getting this guy. Apparently we need 15 food minimum. We're getting allies. That's what we need. Oh, they're coming back. Domesticated, nice. We got him. Now, let's chop up some meat and get more friends. You're already decimated from that species. Really, is that it? We can't get another? Okay, we're going to this one then. We're going to the alpha. I'm about to spew some sick horns. Okay. Come on. We want one of these guys. They're gonna be so good. They're gonna be so good for us. Come on. Come on. Come on! Get him. Get him. Get him. Did it work? Did it work? Oh, we got it. We got a pet chimpanzee. Let's go. This is what we need. This is what we need. This is how we win. We just get a bunch of strong guys. We get the alphas from every single camp. And we use it to massacre them. We're taking the alpha from... No. We're taking the alpha from this one as well. I want all of them. We're probably gonna need more food, but that's fine. More food, more work. That's good. But like, these guys are so helpful, man. We need them. I don't know, did it work? What? There we go, this guy. Get this guy. All right, now it's time to hunt for more food. Bonjour! Did you guys hear that? Bonjour! That looks so funny. Oh! Maybe. We have domesticated the... Oh my god! Bro, it's a little spider. What? How did we... You good? Oh, is he hungry? Oh, that's fine. That's fine. He's the hero of the village. Bring him back and give him a feast. Bring him back and give him a feast. He literally domesticated 3 of the most insane species we have. And he's like, oh guys, when I get back, can you have some food ready for me? Hell yeah, get some food ready for this man. Get some food ready for this man. Okay. Okay. Boys, more food. More food. We're running a little low on food, so that should be able to cover us. How's the Brown Village doing? 3 out of 6. We're doing a little better than that, I think. Let's get all that food back home. You know, we gotta have a feast after a victory. And then it's time. It's time. Violence will ensue. Severe and utter violence. All right, everybody got their things back? We're gonna let them all eat. Oh, well, hello there. You think we could? You think we could? All right. Down to charge, folks. Down to charge. This alpha's gonna be one of us. One of us. One of us. He's big and he's cool. That's all I know. He looks kind of sad, actually. Oh, look at him dance. Dun, 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 dun. What? Stay away, man. What are you doing? Oh, wait, you know what? Actually, I want this guy here. No, actually, it's fine. He can stay over there. Get him. As soon as we kill this guy, the other two will pop out of whatever tent or bush they were hiding under. Break the tent! Oh, here they come. Is this them? They're coming back, folks. They're coming back. Oh, boo-hoo! You guys died. You have too many domesticated animals. Really? Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. I'm too good. Help us kill this. Help us break this down. Why do we have so little food? Did somebody steal from us? Did somebody come and rob me? Oh, he's hungry. Okay, hold up. Come here, can grab some food. How's this handling it? Oh, this guys, there's one left. Get him! Get him! Bro, we were doing this so good. I didn't even realize there was one left. Is he still? Oh no, he's not starving to death. Okay, his marker was still acting up, so I was like, huh? You good, buddy? You good? Deeper. Yeah, it's victory! All right, victory, baby. One less place that can come and harm me. One less place. Yeah. Ooga booga, baby. Let's go. Now we gotta get some food before we move on. I think we need more domesticated animals as well. Just by the way, I think we need more domesticated animals. Does this expand? Looks like it does. The entire tribe, get back here. Everybody. We need food and fast. You know what we have to do? These guys have been abused by us so much. And these guys too, but a little less. Cave art. Did he say cave art? Wait, I just clocked what he said, cave art? Well, that's not for like another 2 million years. All right. 8 out of 9, 8 out of 9, 8 out. Oh, bro, they're all gonna come at us at once. I'm not gonna lie. I can see this coming. They're gonna come all at us at once. We need to buff up, bro. We need to buff. What can we make now with the correct things? Fishing would be a nice thing to do, not gonna lie, but I think it's more efficient to just kill everybody. For flaming torches, I know who to kill to get flaming torches. The Blue Man Group. The Blue Man Group! There we go, 7, damn! Those screams sound weirdly human. I don't like how they sound. You can eat, buddy, you can eat. You can eat, it's okay, eat! There we go. We gotta spread our forces out a little bit, you know? Okay, get a few more, oh, there they are! Bro, they're literally right, they're so close! I don't like how close they are. Who's gonna be coming? Which one do you think it'll be? Which one do you think it'll be? You think it'll be the pink? Oh, shit. Defend! Oh, it's both of them. Bro, it's both of them. I think that actually took... No, it didn't take any health of anyone. We're gonna kill the blue guys and then these guys. They're getting taken down. Bro, they're just T-posing to assert dominance and... Oh no, these guys are gonna die. No, okay. They're protecting us for now. Hold up. If we can kill everyone before time is up, before like we die, we can launch a counterattack. Hold up. Hey there, speaking from lunch break, going home in 4 hours. Hope you had a nice day, man. Hope you had a good day. As you can see, we're in a full-blown civil war. Oh, come on, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. We can't die here. Pop out a baby to solve the problem. Pop one out. That'll definitely solve the problem. They'll stop fighting when they see the baby. Stop. Stop. Bro, we're on double digits. Stop. Double! Double, 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 double. Double cheeseburger, hamburgers. Chicken fries, Whopper. Come on. There we go. We got him. We got him. All right. Folks, it's time to not die. We may have almost died, but it's time. It's time to finish off these people once and for all. Once and for all, look at them. 5, damn. They only sent 4? No, I'm pretty sure they sent more than that. What, did another tribe just... No, another tribe didn't declare war on me, right? Get him. Get him! Alright. This is how we're running things. We're splitting into 2 teams. One is going after the Alphasaurus. The other is going after these poor defenseless, whatever these are called. Everyone will participate, or you're gonna get shanked. Come on, folks, we got this. Buff up on food. We need them babies popping out hard. They only got 2. Bro, they only got 2 people. we can clean those 2 people up, burn their base to the ground. I just need this. Yeah, stop celebrating. Does he have a plate in his hand? No, you don't. What are you doing? Get back in. Pick up the damn food. Oh, there's also food on the floor, by the way. Just a note. Now, before we go for these guys, because they only have 2 people, we're gonna wait for a second. I'm gonna kill these guys. I just realized they're so close. And we can get a decent amount of food. From just killing this tribe of poor innocent creatures. This entire tribe, by the way, we're taking them all out. I'm so invested in this. I feel like I'm like doing war in real life. I don't know what that is. Nah, probably not. I don't know what that's like, but this just feels like war strategy 101. How would you like to conquer a country today? Sit! Nah. I had a chance and I failed. I had a chance and I did not take it. And all our pets are dead. Everyone get food and get building. Hey, yo, look at it. He's zooming. What's that about? He was just like, zoom, 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 zoom to the moon. Nice. All right. Need to fix that. Bro, back to 9 out of 9 so quickly. You know what I think? We get to 9 out of 9, we charge at their camp first. No, hold up. Everybody get an axe. We're going on a journey. Everybody get an axe now. It's time. I don't care if you guys have less X or not. We're going to kill these guys. Charge! Science Village! Fire starters. We're getting them. You guys want to help us out? We're friends, bro. We're friends. Come on. Guess they don't really want to help us out. That's fine. What the fuck was Cyan doing over here? Not Cyan Pink. Oh, they're just getting food. That's fine. That's fine. We're taking out Cyan while we have the chance. We're taking out Cyan before they can regroup. Get 'em! Now back at the village in the meantime, I will be just popping out 1, 2 babies. I don't know who's giving birth to these babies, but somebody sure is, cause they're there. Wild animals are coming to steal your food. No! Oh my god. Baby John Joe! Bro, it's killing my baby. It's eating my baby! They're eating the babies, they're eating the kids, they're eating everything. I declare war. I declare war! Also, by the way, we're breaking this down. Bro, we only have one kid left. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I feel you, buddy. I feel you. I feel you. Here we go. What? They came out one? Oh, damn. All right. I didn't even know they were there. I didn't even know they were there. Kill him. Nah. Hold up. I didn't realize something. Oh, shit. I didn't realize something. They're popping out babies like little, like anything. Kill them all. There we go. Finish it off. What's happening back here? Nothing out of the normal. Nothing out of the normal, baby. Nothing out of the normal. What is this guy? Chieftain? Where's a chieftain here? Bro, what? The chieftain's not supposed to exist anymore? Oh my god, another tribe is invading. Bro. We don't have anyone back here. Oh my god, it's these guys. Pause. 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 What I'm gonna do is get this guy to do this. This guy to do this. That's the best we can do. Oh my god, it's not even repaired. No, come on. Yes, yes, we did it. All right. We got a beeline home and go for victory then. We got a beeline home. If this works, it's gonna be known in legends. Ayo. You destroyed, yes. Now pause. Everyone that's here, we gotta make it back to the village before it dies. Folks, charge back as hard as you can. Come on. Yeesh. All right. Come on. Everyone make it back. They're not gonna make it back in time. They're not gonna make it back. I can't even distract him with babies. You know what I'm actually gonna do? Yeah. I need them to work on it. No! Oh, come on! Come on! We just pulled up the best heist ever! Fresh start's just what we need. I don't know, man. This is kind of a fresh start, but not really. Like, kind of. Alright, folks. I think we're gonna end it there. The game of the planet of Dastek. That's right. That's how it be. So I think, right, so far we did pretty good. I think we did a pretty good job. The only problem is this is going to be one of the toughest areas we've ever done. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to use all my brain cells, and I'm gonna have to I'm probably gonna have to also borrow some, maybe from you guys, maybe from the internet, who knows. But for now, folks, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for everybody who came by. Joestar, Adriv, Guy, bro, so many, What the fuck? 2 people followed today. Thank you. Oh, Def. Welcome back as well. Welcome to the stream. Joestar. Joestar, if you're seeing this, hope your job went well today. But without further ado, I will be ending stream now. Thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you tomorrow. I think we're going to be playing Spore until we beat it. I hope you guys enjoy this. Every day we're going to have something a little different. Tomorrow you guys can recommend music for me to play, and we're going to be playing it while we play Spore, and there's going to be a lot more to come. I'll announce it in the Discord. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!